Why Amber?
In Texas, a woman attempted to have this woman killed over a spot on the high school cheerleading squad.
She didn't care anything about my life. How could you do that to someone that has 4 children?
For the first time, the victim in this bizarre case talks about her family's suffering.
The red-hot case of the Florida nymphomaniac just got hotter, and it's an Inside Edition investigation that's turning up the heat. Today, Steve Wilson exposes a controversy that has everyone involved sweating.
Swift is in. Chicago, we're coming to you first.
Audio check, 1, 2.
Then to L.A.
He may be the most feared man in boxing, Mike Tyson, but Iron Mike is on the ropes over his mistreatment of women.
He squeezed and rubbed my rear end.
And this week, the former heavyweight champ was indicted on rape charges.
No, basically, I'm innocent. Didn't do nothing.
Now Mike Tyson must face his toughest opponent, a jury.
Stand by.
Hello, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching Inside Edition today. Startling new developments in the case of the Florida woman accused of prostitution. Her defense was to be that she's a nymphomaniac. Well, today, the judge in the case, the prosecutor, and the defense attorney are all reevaluating their positions just 24 hours after Inside Edition uncovered startling new evidence in the case. Steve Wilson will be here with the explosive developments a bit later on. But first up, another one of those stories that is very hard to believe. This one is the case of the woman who hired a hitman to kill a neighbor so her daughter could make the cheerleading squad. Today, for the first time, the mother who was the target speaks out. Bonnie Strauss has our exclusive interview.
Verna Heath and her family have always prided themselves on living a life of good family values in their hometown of Channelview, Texas, 30 minutes outside of Houston. A good town, Verna thought, to raise a family. That is, until she learned that her neighbor, Wanda Holloway, wanted her dead and was scheming to find someone to carry out this task. At first, Verna thought it was a joke. She and Wanda had been friends for 9 years.
And we were friends. We were neighbors. Our children spent the night together. I was at her house, or we went to the mall.
Wanda wanted Verna Heath killed in hopes that Verna's cheerleader daughter, Amber, would be too upset to compete against Mrs. Holloway's daughter, Shanna, for a prize spot on the school's cheerleading team. Amber Heath, a trained twirler since age 2, had easily beat Shanna for the coveted spot before, and Wanda saw her as her daughter's main rival.
You look at your child every day. You wonder, why us? Why Amber? There were other girls trying out.
I want to go back to explore what it felt like when the police were sitting in your living room and they told you that a neighbor, someone you have known for 9 years, wanted to see you dead.
It was like a puzzle fitting together, because after Shanna was disqualified, the next day the girls tried out. There was a bomb threat at the school. The Friday the results were called out. That night my car was stolen.
Detectives took the story one step further.
George Hilton, the detective, told me, he said, Mrs. Heath, this is not an easy thing to tell you. And he said, she felt that getting rid of you would take care of the problem of her daughter getting cheerleader. And he said, but what's really hard to tell you is that she wanted your daughter dead.
After hearing that, Verna had a hard time functioning.
I was not myself. I didn't want to go to the grocery store. I had lost weight. I didn't feel like eating. I didn't feel like fixing supper. I didn't even want to go out my front door.
Verna says she was stalked by fear, especially after learning about some of Wanda's backup schemes if the killing failed.
She didn't care anything about my life. She wanted me shipped off to Cuba. She wanted me sold to white slavery. You know.
What did you think when you heard that?
I was angry. I thought, how could you even think those thoughts? How could you consider wanting that to happen to someone? And I felt like, you know, what about my kids? You know, I have 4 children. How could you do that to someone that has 4 children that would never have a mother again?
Verna says her family has suffered terribly, especially her 3-year-old son.
We were in the den watching the news, and he saw my picture on the television, and he looked at me, and he came and got in my lap, and he said, "Is that my mommy?" And I said, "Yes, Blake, that's your mommy." And he said, "Did somebody want to kill my mommy?"
Verna Heath was in the courtroom when the jury announced its verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Wanda A. Holloway, guilty of criminal solicitation for capital murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
You were in the courtroom when the jury announced its verdict.
Yes.
What went through your mind when you heard it?
I cried. It was a feeling of, I cried for Wanda. I cried for her kids. I cried for it being over. That finally there was an answer that 12 people had decided that she was guilty. It wasn't my frustrations anymore. It wasn't my having to decide, did she really want this done? It was their decision. I had heard the tapes. I knew in my heart that she meant every word she said. It should have never happened. It was so unnecessary for this to happen. She never had to go through this for her daughter to get cheerleader. She just needed to have more faith in her daughter.
Well, Wanda Holloway remains out on bail, and by the way, the women still live in the same neighborhood, and their daughters share a class in school. Now, tomorrow, we will speak with Verna's daughter, the cheerleader, Amber Heath. Much more to come on Inside Edition next. Our investigation is at the center of dramatic developments in the Florida nymphomaniac case.
I hope to turn the courtroom into a classroom where we're going to learn about nymphomania and surrogate sex.
Order a seafood dinner at Shoney's and you get a square meal. Order seafood at a fast food restaurant and you get a square fish. Where do they catch square fish anyway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
What really happens when you come to a marathon station anyway? So maybe we're exaggerating a little. But our independently operated marathon stations are fast, friendly, convenient places to fill your tank and grab a bite.
Boy, what you have to go through to pick a healthy dinner these days. They say healthy. Le Menu says healthy. They have herb roasted chicken. Le Menu Healthy has herb roasted chicken. To make it easier, just taste their herb roasted chicken and taste Le Menu Healthy herb roasted chicken. If you don't think Le Menu Healthy tastes terrific, we'll give your money back. Le Menu puts its money where your mouth is. Call for details.
Fact, this week, over 300 Hoosiers will make the smart choice. Fact, these shoppers will save thousands on the official cars of choice in central Indiana, Oldsmobile. Fact, these cars have been driven only a few miles by the players of the PGA and officials of civic events throughout our area. They will be sold at additional savings to you. Fact, full factory warranties are in effect. 98s, 1992 88s, and Cutlass Supremes. What a deal this is. The time is limited. Over 300 Hoosiers will make the smart choice. Will you be one of them?
You have no doubt heard the story of the Florida woman accused of prostitution. Her defense, that she's a nymphomaniac. Well, we got word that there might be more to this story than has been made public. So we sent our Steve Wilson to check it out. And now, his investigation is making big news in Florida. Steve is standing by in Broward County. Steve.
Bill, we have said all along that this has been a very explosive case, and it's been one bombshell after another down here in South Florida this week.
It started Monday with news that the novel nymphomania defense was ready to fold. A plea bargain was in the works, and Jeff and Kathy Willets were ready to make a deal. But while that was going on, Inside Edition was investigating other deals being made behind the scenes. Deals by attorneys to sell evidence and secret videotapes in the case. Monday night, lawyers for the Willets made us an offer and drew up this contract for the sale of 2 packages of material. Package A, a tell-all interview with Jeff and Kathy Willets. The names of men who paid her for sex, including some prominent officials, we were told. Names which a judge has ordered withheld until legal appeals are heard. And a photo session of Kathy and her husband posing on the beach, in the buff if we liked. But package B was the big bombshell. It was a videotape of Kathy having sex with former Fort Lauderdale Vice Mayor Doug Danziger. Inside Rubin's office, it was attorney Guy Rubin who showed us the videotape and facilitated the deal. Guy Seligman, another Willets attorney, prepared this contract, and that's his signature. But it was Rubin, in consultation with his famous father, famed attorney Ellis Rubin, who drew up this confidentiality agreement, which said whether we bought the deal or not, we had to keep it all quiet till after the judge accepted the plea bargain in court today.
We categorically deny the allegation that this office sold or attempted to sell any information about the Willets case or any other case.
When a Miami television station reported the deal last night, Rubin told a news conference we were making up the story to disgrace his firm for our own competitive reasons. And by this afternoon, when everybody headed for court, it was clear all bets were off.
Now, this afternoon, when the prosecutor went into court, he told the judge that new evidence had come to light, evidence which showed perhaps a broader scope of potential crimes, possible crimes committed by the Willetses, and he was going to withdraw the plea offer that he was ready to deal to. So that now is up in the air. A criminal investigation, we are told, has begun into what happened with these videotapes that are now on the market.
Thank you, Steve. And tomorrow we will have Steve Wilson's complete investigation. That should be very interesting. Coming next, he is a brute in the ring. Now Mike Tyson is in trouble. Authorities say he's been brutal to women.
He put his hand on my rear end and he began whispering a lot of perverted things to me.
It's a pattern. And that's why I called him a serial buttocks fondler.
Look at the difference. This is what Leslie Baines used to look like before she discovered the Weight Watchers program. And this is Leslie Baines after. Weight Watchers made a real difference in her life. See what we can do for you.
On Weight Watchers' new Personal Choice program, you can lose weight while you enjoy your favorite foods.
Join for $15. Call 875-7546 or toll free 800-883-3333.
Double your refreshment. Double your enjoyment. Oh, no single gum double freshens your mouth like double mint gum. Double your refreshment. Double your delightment. Oh, no single gum double freshens your mouth like double fresh, double good. Come on and double it. Double mint gum.
There's no single gum like it.
Baby blue Cadillac, baby brand in the back, baby I'm going to the fair. Just a 59-cent selection, even free ice, cold Pepsi with beer. I never stop a rockin', I never stop a stoppin', I'm stopping at the Taco Bell. Tacos and tostadas and burritos and more. Just 59 cents, oh yeah. Call for the bar, I gotta get me some. Take a shortcut if you know one, hon. Little busy, he's making a bar run.
He was once the heavyweight champion of the world, but today in Indianapolis, he was fingerprinted and booked as an accused rapist. This charge follows a string of allegations that Mike Tyson mistreats women. Janet Tamaro with the latest.
Basically, I'm innocent and do not.
Mike Tyson is in for the fight of his life as he surrendered to Indianapolis authorities today. In the ring, he's an awesome destroyer of men. But Iron Mike is now on the ropes, accused of sexual bouts with women.
He put his hand on my rear end and he began to squeeze and rub.
Seems like it's a pattern. And that's why I called him a serial buttocks fondler.
Allegations like these have resulted in multi-million-dollar lawsuits against Tyson. But now a Miss Black America contestant claims Tyson raped her in this posh Indianapolis hotel. After years of whispers and allegations, the former champ will face what could be his toughest opponent yet, a jury. A loss may mean 60 years behind bars. During a press conference after he was released on a $30,000 bond, Tyson told his side of the story.
The situation that occurred was totally ridiculous, and I didn't hurt anyone or do anything to anyone.
In an effort to fight back, Tyson's manager, Don King, revealed the alleged victim's name.
So when we say about the girl, there ain't nothing sanctimonious about she's the one that accused.
How could this have happened to one of the richest and most successful boxers to ever enter a ring?
I think they want money. That's all they want.
Camille Ewald is Mike's foster mother. She raised Mike in a home for boys in upstate New York after he was taken off the streets of Brooklyn for petty crimes.
Mike is a person, he's a very good person. He's a very, very loyal person, a very lovable person, and he hasn't changed.
Camille says she knows Mike is innocent.
The women are after him. He is not after him. I could show you the list that in the last month, how many girls called him.
But a much different picture is painted by a man who knew Mike as a fighter.
That he told me that he loved to see women scream with pain, and he used to love to hurt women and to see them bleed when he was making love to them.
Former light heavyweight champ and ex-New York boxing commissioner Jose Torres says it was only a matter of time before Tyson's abuse of women came to light. In his book, Fire and Fear, Torres claims Tyson says he physically abused his ex-wife, Robin Givens.
I said to tell me which was the best punch he had ever thrown. And he began to laugh, sarcastically. And he says, when I hit Robin with my right hand.
When you're surrounded by people telling you, you're right, Mike, you're wonderful, Mike, yes, Mike, you snap your finger, you go there, you give them cards, you give them presents, so forth. The law doesn't exist for you on a certain level.
Raul Felder is a New York attorney who represented Robin Givens during the couple's highly publicized breakup 2 years ago.
He's a man that is on a self-destruct course. And my guess is unless Michael puts his house in order, by next year, we're going to be talking about some kind of dim memory in the public's eye.
Another person who would like to see Tyson pay the price is Rosie Jones. The former Miss Black America claims Tyson violated her when he appeared to promote the pageant last May.
He squeezed and rubbed my rear end, and then I asked him not to do that by knocking his hand off at the same time. And then he started saying a lot of perverted things to me, and like, "Aw, baby," with swear words in between, "You're so fine."
Jones is now suing Tyson for $100 million.
They automatically think that it's all for the money, but it's not. It's all to teach Tyson a lesson.
J. Morris Anderson, founder of the Miss Black America pageant, says Tyson has damaged the contest's reputation. After his own investigation, Anderson says a number of women complained about Tyson.
At least 10 contestants have stated specifically that he put his hand on their buttocks or that he, touched other parts of their bodies.
Anderson is also suing Tyson and calls him
a serial buttocks fondler. I'm saying this in the sense that if a person commits this, indiscretion over and over and over again, I would deem him a serial person in that respect.
Although there seems to be a flurry of allegations, nothing has been proven.
Yeah, I'm very confident.
And as his foster mother notes, Mike Tyson, with all his fame, with all his money, is a big target.
He's not been tried. So why people try him before the trial comes in? Everybody's trying him. It's not right.
Well, Tyson's fight with Evander Holyfield is still scheduled for November. His take is a guaranteed $15 million. When Inside Edition continues in just a moment. John Scott goes inside America, this time to a town where every young girl dreams of becoming a mermaid.
Pain from just one sensitive tooth can start the domino effect. Pain can make you stop brushing, lead to plaque buildup, gingivitis, periodontal disease, even tooth loss. Sensodyne toothpaste helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
Power Stick Antiperspirant. It excels with 50% more odor and wetness fighters per stroke for 24-hour control that ordinary deodorant sticks just can't beat. Power Stick for 24-hour control.
Now let me get this straight. This cereal is just flakes, right? Now that sounds exciting. No, I'm not kidding. I can hardly wait to dig into all this simplicity. No, hang on, these are good. I was just caught off guard because they look so simple, but these are tasty, light. I like them. Really, I'm not kidding.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? You're kidding.
Taste them again for the first time.
If you've been thinking about losing weight, now you can do it and help others at the same time. Because this month you can join our introductory program for only $19, and we'll donate that entire amount to Easter Seals. Which means you'll be helping people with disabilities do many things most of us take for granted. Just call 1-800-92-JENNY and join us to lose weight and help others.
John Scott, Inside America, next. But first, here's what's upcoming on Inside Edition.
Went into the bedroom, and she got hysterical.
A parent's worst nightmare. Your teenager says she was raped by her friends in the governor's mansion.
They've already taken so much away from me, I'm not going to give up. I want them to hurt like I hurt.
But the judge and the town say not guilty.
Until her side of the story is told, I don't believe there's been any justice.
And also tomorrow, our investigation into the Florida nymphomaniac case continues. Well, you may remember that last week we sent our John Scott on an odyssey to find interesting people in small places across the country. He is traveling the back roads of America in a camper with a camera crew. Well, lo and behold, John has found a town full of mermaids. Here is John Scott, Inside America.
As we rolled along US 19 on Florida's west coast, past a place called Weeki Wachee, we heard a siren. Not that kind. A siren, you know, like a mermaid. Something compelled us to stop and look for the singer of that siren song, knowing, of course, that mermaids don't really exist, do they? Something is weird in Weeki Wachee.
This is the city of mermaids, and it wasn't called that for no reason.
So here's the story of the city of mermaids. Weeki Wachee is an Indian name that means little spring. Now the spring at Weeki Wachee is anything but little, gushing 170 million gallons of crystal clear water each day. And in that water, the mermaids come to play.
The water is 72 degrees. It's very clear. You can see people and see if they're in trouble, or you can play with them or swim together.
Weeki Wachee is also a town, population 6, most of them mermaids. Okay, it is a tourist attraction, but one with a certain kind of charm. Long before there was a Disney World or a Busch Gardens, there was Weeki Wachee. Back in 1944, a couple of ex-Navy frogmen built a theater on the edge of the spring. Lo and behold, the mermaids then appeared. So now, audiences can sit, dry and comfortable, 16 feet below water level and watch the mermaids perform. The play is What Else? The Little Mermaid, choreographed and set to music, performed by mermaids who have underwater access to air hoses.
You know, the legend is that mermaids have caused shipwrecks. Have you ever caused a shipwreck?
Of course, mermaids are beautiful creatures.
But they leave the tourist boats alone, so visitors can cruise the crystal spring waters that give birth to the Weeki Wachee River and see the natural side of Florida, the stands of cypress and pine, the animals, the birds. And though old Weeki Wachee has installed those newfangled water slides, the mermaids remain the main attraction, timeless, captivating, alluring, even at age 6.
So what do mermaids eat?
They eat anything that's fish, sharks, they eat seaweed.